trillion Jamaican dollars. I'm not going to play a numbers game or an economist and make a comment on what percentage that is of GDP and those issues. Others can do that. What is for sure is that yesterday we had a Prime Minister's statement on Melissa, and both sides of the House have pledged their support to building back Jamaica and to defending Lady Jamaica at this time. We accepted the figures put forward, and preliminary figures, infrastructural damage, could be as high in Jamaica as $1 trillion. That comment was put forward by the spokesman on finance yesterday, and we heard it clearly. I believe there's nobody that does not understand what's in front of us. Policy of government is what is going to drive good policy, and implementation of policy is what is going to drive Jamaica's recovery. Our ministers, our bureaucrats in all our agencies are going to have to understand that once we agree on a way forward, the policy is signed off on, statements by ministers, agencies, is the remit of this body to examine. We will have to take it seriously. And we may also have to understand that we have to look at our recent history, at implementation of policy, where it is failing, where it is challenged. We have to look at that. You can't just go forward because we have a crisis at this time and ignore the past. We will fail if we go forward as a nation in that manner. So I would like to really, for this committee, to put in front of us, and I have spoken to the clerk to your left, and I will be sharing with him the documents we may need as members to look at and to understand and to read and refresh ourselves. The procurement guidelines, how policies are implemented in accordance with our laws, is something we have to study and understand. And I will just highlight, I made a list of some of them. It's not a comprehensive list, but it does help guide us in terms of what we have to look at to prepare ourselves for these meetings. Government of Jamaica Procurement Law and Policy, the Handbook for Public Sector Procurement Procedures, documents relating to emergency contracting procedures, the public procurement regulations. We could start with those. I believe it would be also very important for some of us who have not been has not paid attention to this committee as we maybe should have, to also get copies of the last 2 minutes of your meetings so we can read and see what was done, where we have, no matter what it is, where we should take up some of the work of the past. I believe this would be a start for us to get moving. Specifically, I would want to ask the clerk to share with us any statements on the Spark program going when it was put into policy.
What we could do is ask all of that to be present at the next meeting to us, because I doubt if the clerk would have that at hand at this time. So we'll serve notice that he needs to make sure that that is with us, whether before we get to the meeting or at the present time of the meeting. But one of the things, the Standing Order 73C that speaks directly to this committee is the Economic and Production, Human Resource and Social Development and Infrastructure and Physical Development Committee, which we are. Each of the committees established under paragraph H I and J of the Standing Orders number 68 shall have terms of reference in relation to the subject matter indicated by its designation, and accordingly shall have the duty of examining policies, documents, and statements from ministries and government agencies which have a bearing on the subject matter of its terms of reference, examining legislative proposal which may have an effect on the subject matter of its term of reference, and making recommendations to Cabinet through the Legislation Committee, receiving submission from citizens and organizing meeting between citizens, community groups, sectoral organization, members of parliament, and representatives of government agencies to facilitate exchange of views on the operation of the government and their effect on communities and groups in society, and organizing meeting with relevant organization in order to seek such information on their activities as the public interest may demand. So correctly, we are within right to bring these agencies to bear and to get an understanding. So what we really want is to have all these providers. So we could, Mr. Nash, Flow, Digicel, NWA, NWC, JPSCO, Port Authority, and I would ask members, what do you think about the local representative from the local municipal corporations, the different municipal corporation, to be here to get an understanding of where they are and how severe the situations are within their respective neck of the wood.
Suggestion, because I mean, you really want to get a big picture of what has happened across with respect to your road network and your road infrastructure. And they currently have responsibility for a significant percentage of our road network, and which are primarily parochial community roadways, and which would impact community life in a major way. So I think it would be fruitful to have them here, and you could, their municipalities are about 14.
Yeah, but depending on which, not every parish
yes,
we would take from, but those who were really victims.
You could look at the affected areas, yeah. The worst affected areas first. Oh, yeah. But still, you would still want to, at some point, get a view, because even though we are saying worst affected areas, as I can tell you and other MPs can tell you, we are from parishes that are not considered worst affected. But when we look at the network of roads we have, there have been a significant damage to them that will impact community and economic life in those parishes. So it would be at some point, even after we take the worst affected areas, it would be good to get a representation or information in relation to the other parishes.
So we also, in that light, we also would want to have RADA, because they too have some amount of roadway which are very, very important to the economy of Jamaica, which is the farm roads across many of these parishes that really were severely impacted. So we also want to, Mr. Nash, you would have Flow, Digicel, NWA, NWC, Port Authority, local corporate municipal corporation, RADA, and JPSCO thus far. And each for the local MCs, RADA, they would want to come and speak directly to road and bridges under their respective portfolio. NWA has the responsibility for the major roadways that were impacted. So when you write to them to invite, make sure that you give them an understanding as to what they are asked to come and present on.
Thank you for your guidance and going through standing orders with us. Your experience I really appreciate. I must indicate, though, that I do have one specific request at this time, and it's for us to look at the policies around the bridge program, the United Kingdom Government of Jamaica funded bridge program, 55 bridges, and also its slow implementation, because at this time, that's an important area that we could look at with immediate effect and understanding on the future.
I do understand you, member, but as it is where we are without knowledge or enough information as it is, and so we will have to make sure that the agency or the organization that has responsibility is made known, aware of what is it that we expect from them, as we have said before. Also, what we want to make sure is that we are not going to be able to take all these entities for one meeting. And so we know, we'll have to say to Mr. Nash, giving the clerk the instruction that he will speak to them and he will find out which one is readily, because we would want to have another meeting as early as next week. And so those who are able to be here next week, let them, and then we take it accordingly. So the following week, we could have the others. So if we could look at the easier ones, too. You, Mr. Nash, will have to find out from them, because I know they're going to give excuse as to why they're unable to turn up. So if there's any that we can take next week, we take them. Next week, Wednesday? Is there a meeting next week, Tuesday morning? You're seeing a meeting here? So let's look at next week, Wednesday morning then. 10 a.m. Members, are there any other matter that you would want to raise at this meeting?
So when they give the report on infrastructure, I would, so it's not only road infrastructure.
No, infrastructure.
Yes, infrastructure. Just for them to understand. Because then you have the drain infrastructure, which is another.
And honestly, I had taken it that when we speak of roads, then the agency know very well that it's not just the mere Barber Green, but also the concrete work or the earthen drains that runs alongside our support, the road network that we want to make sure that they understand. So, Mr. Nash, just for clarity, you may want to make sure that they understand clearly that that includes the drainage or any other infrastructure that affords, Any other matter? No, I'm not asking for the motion to adjourn. I'm asking, is there any other matter that you would want to discuss, Issa?
We have accomplished a lot, and I must say, for you to leave your constituency, to be here with us, to stay in Kingston after an important parliamentary session yesterday, we appreciate it.
I am grateful, and I know that my constituents understand clearly the need for me to be here to make sure that whatever we discuss and whatever we come up with, that they too are a part of Jamaica, and so we have to be our brother's keepers as best as possible in this instance. And so at this time, if there is no other business, that we set the date for next Wednesday. Next week, Wednesday, 12th of November, 10 a.m. sharp. So we'll be prepared. At this time, we now ask for a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
All right. So moved by Member Williams, seconded by Member Robinson. This meeting now stands adjourned.
It was rough. Every time the rain fall, the whole place wet up. I have to put the kids' them book in a bag until the place dry out. Ah boy, I couldn't afford a new roof. Then one day, Rose tell me about a grant I can get through the government. So I sent a letter to the ministry telling them what go on. The officers came, them do them inspection, where I was able to go to the hardware store, get the supply, so my roof could have been fixed. I don't think I ever see my kids them smile so much yet. That means everything to me. I tell everybody about the grant. The Ministry of Economic, Growth and Job Creation make my life better. They make a big difference to me and my family.
Imagine a creature so elusive that it was believed to have vanished entirely from the face of the earth since the 1800s. This is the story of the Jamaican giant gallowp, a living legend of Jamaica's natural heritage, long thought extinct, yet persistently woven into the fabric of our island's biodiversity. In this documentary titled Return of a Giant, the Jamaican giant gallowp, we explore the scientific and cultural journey behind rediscovering and restoring the enigmatic reptile, a symbol of Jamaica's endemic wildlife and resilience. Welcome back to Return of a Giant. For over a century, The Jamaican giant gallowp existed only in faded sketches and local folklore. The Jamaican giant gallowp exemplifies the richness of our island's biological and cultural tapestry. Described as having a black, shiny, snake-like body with tiny legs, the length from its mouth to its tail is reportedly equivalent to the length of one's arm, from fingertips to shoulder. According to Jamaican folklore, if a gallowp bites you, you must get to water before it does, or death is certain. Across Jamaica and the Caribbean, discussions about cultural repatriation, that is, returning artifacts and remains to their countries of origin, have been gaining momentum. Historically rooted in colonial legacies, this movement underscores our collective desire to reconnect with our natural and cultural roots. In 2022, a groundbreaking milestone occurred. A dedicated team of 5 from the University of the West Indies and the Institute of Jamaica, collaborating with international experts, embarked on a pivotal mission to explore the possibility of repatriating a specimen of a legendary creature preserved at the University of Glasgow in Scotland since the mid-1800s, namely a Jamaican giant gallowp. This journey marked a significant chapter. The team was driven by scientific inquiry, cultural identity, and conservation aspirations. After intensive negotiations and research, in 2024, a Jamaican giant gallowp specimen was successfully returned to Jamaica, symbolizing a tangible link to our natural history. A team from the University of the West Indies and the Institute of Jamaica secured the necessary permits, and the specimen, believed to be a female named Celeste after its genus Celestus, became a beacon of hope for Jamaica's conservation narrative. This event is more than a biological milestone. It is a cultural triumph. The return of a giant, the Jamaican gallowp, is a reminder of our country's natural resilience. Once thought extinct due to the invasive Indian mongoose that decimated populations in the 1800s, this species repatriation underscores the importance of preserving our endemic biodiversity. In May 2025, a memorandum of understanding was signed between the University of the West Indies and the Institute of Jamaica, formalizing a shared commitment to conservation, heritage preservation, and fostering national pride.
This is where we cement our arrangement with the National Natural History Museum of Jamaica as it relates to the care of the first natural history repatriated specimen. Now, interestingly, when one thinks of returning of cultural items, a lizard is not what comes to mind, and I've made deliberate efforts to keep my distance. I've made deliberate efforts to keep my distance. But interestingly, the University of Glasgow MOU builds on existing partnerships with our colleagues at the Institute of Jamaica. And it places this one-of-a-kind specimen in a national fund collection. And this MOU cements the role of museums in the region, and it supports institutions that build and promote cultural identity in all of its forms. And one of the values that we celebrate here at the university is diversity. And I think our being here today exemplifies in a real and tangible and novel way what we mean by being inclusive.
The Institute of Jamaica and the University of the West Indies share a long and storied history of collaboration on matters of profound historical and scientific significance. Our researchers and scientists have long worked side by side, united by a common goal to uncover and illuminate the truths of our island's evolution, enriching our collective understanding of Jamaica's past. Having Celeste as a specimen has been fondly named in our national collection represents another meaningful step in fulfilling our duty to safeguard the richness of our past, held in trust for the future. On this momentous occasion, we find ourselves one step closer to equipping current and future generations with the tools to better understand Jamaica's historical fauna, supporting not only scientific research, but also the natural human curiosity that inspires learning and wonder. Celeste is not only a representation of our material history, but also a vital symbol of cultural identity. Myths and traditions abound regarding the gallowp. Among them, the belief that if one bites you and reaches water before you do, death is certain. I believe that with all my heart when I was growing up. The presence of this specimen offers a tangible link to our oral traditions and to the stories that make our heritage so rich, complex, and vibrant. It is therefore my duty and my pleasure to express sincere gratitude to the scientists, researchers, diplomats, and all those whose efforts have made the repatriation of Celeste to Jamaica possible.
This achievement inspires us to see Jamaica not just as an island of vibrant culture, but as a sanctuary of unique species whose stories deserve to be reclaimed and celebrated. The gallowasp's story sparks renewed awareness about endangered species and serves as a catalyst for future conservation initiatives.
The fact that Celeste will be housed in the Natural History Museum of Jamaica demonstrates the continued goodwill and collaboration between the Department of Life Sciences, University of the West Indies, and the Natural History Museum of Jamaica, Institute of Jamaica. As the curators of our biodiversity collection, they are best equipped to care for the specimen, and we recognize that there, the specimen will be more accessible to all, whether researchers or members of the general public. Jamaicans can marvel at the flagship specimen, get curious, learn about them, and hopefully this will translate into better attitudes to lizards in general and likely lead to their increased survival. Right? But for the Jamaican scientists, for our current and our future herpetologists, the specimen does more than confirm our biodiversity and distribution, but it provides an opportunity for local taxonomic, systematic, and genetic studies of the group of gallowasps, and for deductions to be made on their biology, life history, ecology, and hopefully all of this will lead to their conservation.
The repatriation has sparked new educational initiatives. This tangible connection to our natural history encourages educational programs focused on endangered and extinct species, highlighting the urgency of conservation in our changing world. Following its return, Celeste was displayed at the University of the West Indies UWI Museum for a month, captivating visitors and igniting curiosity about Jamaica's endemic species.
A gallowasp is a type of lizard, snake-like body, small legs. But because it is a lizard, everybody understands what a lizard is, and Jamaicans, unfortunately, are afraid of lizards. But because you can repatriate a lizard, it sets the tone for the cultural repatriation of any cultural item. So not just flora and fauna, but also cultural items that we have generally.
We have here Celeste, which is a Jamaican gallowasp. But the first thing here, Celeste is in a container, a glass container, with formaldehyde, which is to preserve her. When you put a specimen in formaldehyde, they lose their natural color. So right now she kind of look creamish, maybe with some it's a brown spot on her, and you see some striations on the tail. You see the tail, you see those striations, and you see striations on the body. And then if you look deeper in, you see scales. So the first thing, gallows have scales. Now, if Celeste was alive and in the wild, she would not look like this. General in Jamaica, gallows kind of have a grayish or a silverish color.